Hello everybody and welcome to Edshed. Today we are taking a look at a battle plan in Total War Warhammer. And this is something that I've been really excited to do and share with you guys. And this particular battle plan that we're going to be looking at is attacking in oblique orders. So it's going to, or I'll just explain how the video is going to be set up. I'm going to spend a little bit of time now at the beginning talking about what this strategy is and how it works. And then I'm going to actually show you a top-down view of a battle that I played where I used this strategy, and you'll be able to see it actually put into place, as well as me sort of narrating over that and explaining what I was doing and the problems that I encountered. So, attacking in oblique order, the idea here, and this is a genuine sort of military strategy that's been used in battles previously, is that if perhaps you can't flank an enemy, or perhaps because of terrain or because they've got better mobility than you, for whatever reason, if you can't get around the side of them, you can instead wait your offensive to be on one of their flanks and actually break that flank and push through them. Obviously there are issues to this, which are that your other flank is not as strong, because you're weighting the bulk of your forces onto their one side. But there are various methods to get around this, which I will cover when we actually look at the battle that takes place and that I go through. Now, one of the things as well to bear in mind here is that in order for this to work effectively, you really, or to work more effectively than in the battle that takes place, if you can have your weaker flanks draw more of their reinforcements away from where the bulk of your forces are, you can really easily, or a lot easier, break that flank and really rotate their army around and fold them up from the side. So to take a little look at how I've got my troops set out, we're going to be looking at the actual battle now. You will see that I have got two sets of chariots at the very front of my right hand side. I've then got two giant spiders, which I've completely forgotten the names of. I've then got two black orcs. I've then got two orc big uns, and then moving across to look across the left of it, you'll see my general, who's there to provide as much of a morale boost to as many troops as possible, and that's why he's placed just off. It would be nice to have him at the very spear point, because obviously certainly the orc generals, they can do a lot of damage, but providing morale to my weaker side is more important, I feel, at this point. I've then got two deep goblin spearmen, or goblin spears I should just say. I've then got just some regular orc boys, they might be orc big uns, I can't quite remember. I've then got another two deep orc or goblin spears, and then I've got the another one of the orcs, orc big uns, or maybe it was just regular orc boys. And these, you can't see the enemy in sort of the picture that I've got up currently, but the enemy is, if you imagine where it says game pause there, the enemy could be along there, so they're flat to that. So the slope that I've got down there is aiming to prevent the enemy from easily attacking, either trying to flank me, because in a lot of ways this works like a flying V with the slope, and also it's to keep these as far away so that if the enemy does attack across there, I've got a decent chance of moving my main force to hit them in the flank. And yeah, a lot of that comes down to trying to refuse battle for them, but we'll see more of that in the actual gameplay footage, which we'll go to now. Okay, so you can see now my unit's just advancing from the bottom of the screen, and they instantly get snared by the Wizard of Light that the enemy's got. So I actually give my army the order to hold position, and this is despite the fact I'm taking quite a beating from their artillery. But for me, maintaining my ranks and discipline in the army is more important than the casualties that I'm going to sustain from the artillery fire. Maybe if the artillery was worse, if they had more mortars or their cannons were in a better position, I would have considered changing my strategy slightly by perhaps just allowing the troops at the back to continue forwards, and then basically change up the order in which the weighted side of my army attacks. We'll also see there that I got snared again. Now, here what we can see is I'm getting to a point where I can engage, so I give just a general order for my units to attack, and then I sort of split up where they're attacking a little bit after. Now the enemy countercharges with some Demigryph Knights in a second. They've charged there with just regular Empire Knights, which ultimately they're not going to do enough good against my my forces there, and ultimately neither will Demigryph Knights when they come in. You'll see that my chariots as well, I pulled them right off to the enemy's flank, and now I'm going to move them around and eventually charge them into the rear. So this does incorporate an element of a flanking manoeuvre, but I'm only able to do this because I've already forced the enemy to commit the bulk of their forces into my main offensive. You'll see that my left-hand side, so the weaker element of my army, is still refusing combat. It's staying off, and despite the fact that the goblins are getting absolutely slaughtered by pistol fire, it's just not worth me risking them at this point. In effect. Now, seeing that the tide is completely turning, you can see the enemy is now completely breaking where my main offensive is. I commit my my weaker side to flanking the remains of the enemy's reinforcements, in effect, that have only just joined the main battle, and then I send in 2 lots of spear goblins and some orcs just to clear out the artillery position. At this point, the enemy is now in full retreat, with the exception of the general, the Demigryph Knights and the artillery, but the artillery will break in a second. Now, it's at this point I do make a bit of a mistake. As you can see here, the Demigryph Knights are losing morale quite quickly, but I move my forces away from them in order to chase off the other enemies that are on the battlefield. What I should have done was commit more units to completely break the Demigryph Knights and not give them a chance there, as you see then, to regroup and regain some morale, because these will be a thorn in my side till the very end. And when I show you the actual stats, the Demigryph Knights are the only units on the enemy side that get they're close to being the only units on the enemy side that get double figures in kills, you know. So they're a real thorn in my side, and I should have dealt with them better. But it doesn't really matter. As I say, the rest of the army is in complete retreat. It's just a matter of time of waiting for the Demigryph Knights' morale to drop low enough. You'll see that the Empire General there is broken and will soon die. And when that happens, with morale being as low and the battle being lost, the rest of the units, including the Demigryph Knights, sure to follow shortly behind them. And in fact, I think that this now, pretty much now, is the end of the battle, and it's a nice decisive win. And I'll put up the scores, in effect, so the amount of kills and deaths, and you'll see it's quite convincing. And as I say, if I'd have dealt with the Demigryph Knights a bit better, then we wouldn't have had, we would have probably halved our casualties again, which is quite phenomenal, really. Especially given that we stopped halfway through the mortar fire just in order to maintain our lines and our discipline. Okay, so just a few things before I go on this. The weaker side if you do find yourself in a situation where you get a heavy attack on there, what you can try and do is actually retreat them, but instead of going directly backwards, bring them round as if you're using your bulk of your force as the centre of the pivot, and just roll them round, in effect almost running in a circle around the bulk of your force. It may just give you an opportunity to use your main force to pull back and attack this offensive on your weak flank, but equally it could be disastrous, to be perfectly honest, because what you could end up happening is completely opening up your flank on the main force and allowing them to hit you on there. So just be wary of that. I suppose one of the better things that you can do is one of the things, or you'll have seen there in that battle that I had orcs in between two lots of goblin spears, and this was by design in sort of a major way, and a key part of the strategy, and that's to really add a little bit extra weight to my weaker flank and a little bit extra strength there, so that it won't crumble as easy and it can at least pin the enemy in place, hopefully long enough for me to have crushed their flank with my main offensive. So, like, I wouldn't dream of having just my my one side being all goblins, because they will run away very quickly, and at that point you're just going to be enveloped and sort of chewed up and spat out by the enemy. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope it's been helpful for you. I hope you win many battles in Total War Warhammer. If you have enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. It would be a massive help to me, and I really enjoy doing this. I really love sort of medieval battles, Gunpowder Age battles, and just the Total War games, so I would love to know that you guys enjoy this content, and that would mean that it would be worth me doing more of it. So it would mean an awful lot to me if you could like and subscribe this video. Yeah, it really would. So yeah, I will see you around.